Welcome back to News Cafe on the Solar News Channel. We're still talking to attorney Loida Nicolas Lewis. So Mrs. Lewis, give us some of your top tips maybe for raising children, especially since you were a single mother raising them. What would you say is the best advice?
Well, I think the first thing that as a mother that I am very conscious of is that not to have too many don'ts. As I said before, choose the things that are important to you, and then that's what you transmit to your daughter, to my two daughters. So when I came down to it, I said this, a simple way, and in fact, I tell them when I speak before young people, 3 things. First, set your goal. Okay.
Yes.
Secondly, obedience to a code of ethics. And thirdly, determination to do what you want to do. So even as a mother, those are my 3 things. And for your children, set your goals. You're gonna graduate. You're going to be, top of your class or whatever. Obedient to do not do to others what you don't want to do, the golden rule.
Yes.
Obedience to a code of ethics.
Right.
And then you will always be, there will always be failure along the way. But don't get discouraged. Just keep going no matter what. So as a mother, I think I have been able to imply that to my 2 daughters.
And what wonderful daughters you have. One is working with the Wall Street Journal, is that right?
Well, my
That's
youngest
Christina.
one worked with Wall Street Journal, but 3 years ago she quit over a principal because there's a new owner, Robert Murdoch. But she became
Ethics.
She became a magazine writer. But now, what's so impressive about her is that she started thinking, if my father were alive today, where would he go? Because, 40, 50 years ago, he went to Harvard Law School because Rockefeller Fund created a summer school program for very talented African-American men and women in college. And that's where the father was able to get into that summer program. And then the rest is history. He graduated from Harvard. He had a stamp of approval. So he asked the professor, if my father were alive today, where would he go? Law, medicine? He said he would be in technology. So my daughter created a not-for-profit all-star code that will zero in on talented African-American and Latino high school boys and train them to be entrepreneurial and innovative. And because of that, she was cited by the White House, Champions for Change.
Excellent.
And now she just told me she's in the semifinals for a grant of money by foundations and the president, my brother's keeper.
Wow.
To win a certain amount if she's chosen among the 40 innovative.
Maybe she can do that for Filipino scholars also, including the minority.
People of color. People of color.
Wonderful. Well, you also, speaking of, you talked about Obama again. You are supporting President Obama now.
I supported him in his re-election.
Right.
And also in the first election.
Yes. And
when he won the primary.
Yes. But first you were supporting
Hillary Clinton during the primary.
Yes. So you were also for President Noynoy Aquino. You were also very supportive.
Well, we campaigned very hard for him because, I have lived in the United States for more than 40 years. And what hurts me is that during all that time, the Philippines is considered top 10 most corrupt country. And, as a businesswoman, when I speak with international, investors, Philippines, bad address. We're considered the sick man of Asia, and I'm sick of that. So when President Noynoy, when he was senator, when he declared his candidacy, my sister, my entire family worked for him. I worked for him in the United States. So when he won, thank God, look at us now. We have become investment grade, triple B. So we are paying less taxes. Our Secretary of Finance has been #1, the best finance minister in the world. Not only 1 year, since 2010, 4 years. And our GDP is in the 7%.
Right.
So the Philippines is up there because of a very honest president.
And what are your thoughts on all of this PDAF and the pork barrel scam?
Thank God lumabas.
Okay, at least.
Because alam natin na meron talagang kalukuhan.
Oo.
So only under President Noynoy will something like this come up and people will be brave enough to say, yan, magdanakaw yan.
So there's so much frustration because people are losing hope. But when you're saying when this is happening, at least we're moving forward somehow.
You know, also under Dinky Soliman, you know, the direct transfer, because really they are very, very, very poor. I live in Sorsogon.
Yes.
Some of them, you know, my students cannot even pay, you know, they're scholars. They don't even have enough money to pay for their daily life, you know. So I know that there is poverty, and so this policy of giving cash transfers, if you send your children to school, if you take, you know, when you're pregnant, you take, you know, vitamins, you take care of yourself, you see to it that your house is clean, you know, there are certain conditions, then you will get 1,500. That's very helpful.
Yes. Well, elections are coming up. Any candidates that you might be supporting for 2016?
Okay. The 6 years of President Noynoy is really not enough. The institutions are not strong enough. He needs another 6 years, but the Constitution is against that. So we must elect a second term for President Noynoy through the person that he will support.
You think so? His approval ratings have been going down.
But it's still 65%, the highest. Barack Obama is already in the 50s, but he is 65. After 3 years, that's very, very good.
Right.
And for me, the real goal is continue what he has done, because it has raised up. I mean, the Philippines is now, you know, it's no longer the BRIC. We are the Peru, Philippines, Indonesia, you know, and I can't
nations,
remember.
yes,
we are
emerging
now
countries.
going up in this world. Investment are coming in. So it must continue. We don't want to go back to corruption.
That's right.
And this PDAF, in fact, I am so scared. Wait until 2016, yung mga ano?
Waiting, yung mga candidates waiting.
It will be our time again. Happy days are here again. So, I am praying that the Filipinos in the Philippines will be smart enough to say, we want the way Noynoy is running it. Okay, let's give him a second term. So whoever he appoints, we should elect.
Okay. And now in the U.S., you're going to be supporting Hillary Clinton.
Ready for Hillary.
Yeah, back to Hillary all the way.
Yes, yes.
Any chance you might be running, because you're very active in politics. I'm sure people might be thinking you would be a great candidate for politics, whether in the U.S. or the Philippines.
I always tell people, please don't wish me evil.
You're happy with the way things...
Politics is not in the cards. No. I'm doing what I can, what I see it's best, and I'm not hampered by pleasing some interest groups. So I'm better off where I am.
Right. And you're able to spend more time with the family also, huh?
Well, I babysit for my younger daughter, my younger grandson, Calvin, every Tuesday. And when Leslie needs me, because she's in this Arnold, this is the fitness competition, Arnold Schwarzenegger. She is a yoga teacher. So I fly to Naples, Florida, because I have 2 grandchildren there, Christian and Sevilla. And you know, I am so, so proud of my daughter and my son-in-law, Gavin, because they adopted 2 babies from Rwanda 8 years ago. You know, and they are my grandchildren. No distinction.
Right. And I hear one of them is also now into acting.
Both of them actually are in Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
Yes. They're not the main actors, but they're there. They enjoy acting.
Yeah, and I hear you do a mean chicken dish which they love. You have this recipe from the I Hate to Cook cookbook. Because you said you didn't really like to cook.
Very good research, you know. I don't really cook. In fact, for my husband, he was thankful. He only eats certain kinds, you know, fried chicken, you know, steak, you know, and for my grandchildren, spaghetti, you know, sinigang. So nothing complicated. But when sometimes my daughter asks me, please come, so I'm cook, and I enjoy it. And my cookbook is I Hate to Cook.
I should get that. You also do yoga. What do you do in your downtime? What do you do to relax?
Yes, I do. Yes, the yoga. You know, through my daughter, she gave me a gift of 20 lessons of yoga, and I've been taking that. I love going to musicals, to Broadway shows, to opera, and going to movies, because as you know, we grew up with the movie theater, Loida theater. So going to movies is fun. And reading books. You know, I finally have the Kindle, so that the books are there, and I can have 3, 4, 5 books that I can read every now and then.
You're also quite a piano player, right? You're into very much music.
From St. Agnes, the teachers, the German teachers were very good. So I'm not a widow player. You know, when you hear you can play, I can only play what I learned in high school, and I still play them.
Now, since it is Mother's Day, being a mother, phenomenal woman, I'd like to ask you, you've been through so much in your life and you've accomplished quite a lot. What would you say is your secret to happiness, to making this life meaningful?
Well, the secret really is trying to align your will with God. So every morning I do pray. I do keep quiet for 15 minutes. It's called Zen practice, just counting your breath, and then reading what the Mass says, and having a journal. Because in the journal, you write your prayer to God for that day based on whatever it is in the, in the Mass. And then it's an Ignatian practice. You look at the day before, what made you happy? Consolation. What made you sad? Desolation. And then you write it down. And normally, because I am a, optimistic character, it's usually always good. Okay? But then, when I do something, I write it down. I'm sorry. I did this and that. I wish I could do it better. So, what is my secret? It is my connection with the Lord. And then if you walk with God, as Psalm 1 said, Psalm number 1, anyone who fears the Lord is like water, fresh water. And the trees will always be green. They always give fruit in due season. And whatever they do will prosper.
Oh, very inspiring indeed. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Loida, Nicolas Lewis. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Mitzi.
And that's News Cafe for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to thank my guests once again, Attorney Loida, Nicolas Lewis. If you have any comments on our show, please do share them on our Facebook or Twitter pages. And you may download the Solar mobile app on your mobile devices to catch up on our past episodes or to watch Solar programs live. Join us again next Thursday for another round of discussions. I'm Mitzi Bormeo. Good evening.
Sa karoon sa report, pinagbanak sa lahat ng media.
Media educators are now called to become press freedom.
Sa karoon sa report, pinagbanak sa